So 2020 brought a big change to everybody, and the impact that it had on business was pre-pandemic, few people worked remotely and worked from home. Post-pandemic, literally everybody figured out how to work remotely and work from home. So from an IT perspective, what does that mean? There's a difference between supporting 20 or 30 people inside the same four walls every day of the week and supporting those same 40 people now inside of their homes. How do they connect? What do they have as a printer? Who's their internet provider? What's the speed of that connection? You just introduced a ton of new variables into that relationship. So how it affected the IT services world is we had to get really good at what's your home connection? What's your home printer? What's your speed? Because you still have all of the same business functions you've got to get done. You got to stay connected, you've got to print stuff, you've got to email stuff, you got to be connected now for meetings that are online when before you weren't really having very many meetings online. So the expertise that we had to have, we had to expand our knowledge to really be able to troubleshoot home networks way more than we ever used to. We had to be able to troubleshoot what does it mean that my Zoom connection is slow now instead of just my PC slow, and really understand how to leverage the remote tools that existed before. The positive side of the pandemic on the IT services world, everybody got really comfortable with remote support. The question of how quickly can you be here has almost evaporated. It's, can you connect right now? That's just the expectation. It's like, I've called you, we're on the phone, how come you can't see what I see? And so making sure as a service company, you have the tools in place to immediately connect with that individual is critical, and making sure your team knows how to use those tools. So the tools existed before, we like to use them before. There was a little bit of a hesitancy of, can't you just get in the car and come over? That's all gone. It's just expected that you're going to support me remotely. It's the rare occasion we have to get in the car and drive there now. It still does happen because there are hardware failures that the only way you can fix it is by touching it. But most of the issues we deal with day to day are able to be solved remotely. So it's had both a positive impact on the support model, and the negative side was we had to really scramble and expand our skill sets to troubleshoot all of the new variables that are involved in supporting a home network versus the business network that exists there. The security aspects of working remotely are also one of the new variables. So do you force people to VPN, a virtual private network, back to your office and then control the traffic that way? Do you buy a firewall for everybody at their home? What equipment do you provide for people at home? The use of technology to keep people secure in a remote and distributed world is even more critical than it was when people were inside of the four walls. So you want to make sure you've got solid passwords in place. You want to make sure everybody uses two-factor authentication on every single application, every single connection. Training people on just the necessity of two-factor, the importance of what device is it that's connecting. Did they take a corporate device home and you have all your tools on that corporate device, or are you allowing people to use their home PCs and home laptops to connect back to the corporate network? Those are all new variables you've got to deal with in that remote and distributed world. So making sure things are secure, making sure things are backed up, people are using secure passwords, and you've got secure connections as much as you can. So just being aware that that dynamic has changed, making sure you're educating people on what to look for in their communications and the things they might see on the internet or in an email, making sure the passwords are in place, making sure the secure networks are there. Those are all new things that had to be dealt with now in a distributed environment as opposed to just focusing on one building. There are tons of online cybersecurity awareness training. Some of them are free, but they all require a little bit of management because you want to know. You can provide the training materials, but if no one ever reads them or watches them or uses them, and it's just words on paper or words on a website. You want to periodically send out the training, and then like everything else, you want to have a test. One of the things that a service provider can provide is, all right, we're going to send out training, we're going to monitor who actually completes it, and then we're going to test it. We're going to send out some phishing emails And a phishing email just is really what it sounds. It's trying to get you to bite the hook. They just spell it funny because it's an internet thing. But they're just trying to get you to click on something. That's the hook. And if you click on it, it's like, oops, you shouldn't have clicked on this. And that's what happens when it's the good guys doing the phishing. You get a message that says, hey, that's actually something you shouldn't have clicked on. And you want someone to do that testing so that people are aware, they've been trained, and people are still gonna make mistakes because they're people. So you wanna use those resources.